Hello again, it's Pixie back with yet another Netflix horror fix. I forgot what I was calling these for a second there. Today's dose is The Beast Within, and God, I thought the last one was bad. I don't know what was going on with this one. The plot was incredibly difficult to follow, partly just because all of the 90% of the actors look the same to me. They all have the same accent, similar clothes, similar faces. And apparently some of these were sort of well known in the 80s and whatever, but none of them were particularly recognisable to me. So I'm sitting there going, which one of the grey-haired American grumpy guys is this one? Anyway, this is apparently based on a book, which I never heard of either. It's really grim and really schlocky, but it takes itself far too seriously for the amount of nonsense that happens in this film. It's about, a woman and her wife, their car breaks down while they're on the way to God knows where. And so the husband goes off for a wander and to try and, find help. And the wife gets left, and something horrible escapes from a cellar in a nearby house. There's something apparently being human. I thought it was meant to be human. Later events make me think, well, maybe it wasn't. I really don't understand. And this person thing rapes her, which is pretty grim. We then flash forward to many years later, and the product of the rape, a lad named Michael, is suffering from unspecific crazy. I really didn't understand what was supposed to be going on here. He's having nightmares. He seems to have some sort of split personality thing going on. I don't understand. And he's being studied because he's got unspecified crazy, and starts getting these visions about this thing that came out of the cellar. And so his mother and her husband, stepfather, I guess, technically, don't know how would you describe that? Let's just go with stepfather. Go off to the town nearest where this whole horrible stuff happened. Major trigger warnings. Although it's handled in such a stupid way that I'd be, if this triggers someone, I'd be kind of surprised, because nothing in this seems realistic. The acting's awful. Also trigger warnings for racial slurs and things. They keep going on about Indian burial grounds. Indian, really? What is it with American horror and native burial grounds? Like, really? Stephen King, you have a lot to answer for. They go off to the town and talk to people and get into arguments, and there's these dodgy guys who look almost exactly the same as the central characters. It's just sheriff and some sort of local mayor, or I don't know. As I say, I struggled to sort of stay paying attention to this, and I still couldn't. I couldn't follow it very well. It's nonsense. And anyway, while they're studying trying to find out who the person thing that rapes her was, young lad starts going off on sort of semi-killing spree as split personality, consciousness of person thing. I don't understand. There's all this business with it's cicadas and shedding their skin and turning into something else. And do you mean shedding skin? Do you mean like chrysalis type thing? And also they keep going on about, oh, you can hear the cicadas, what's that noise? It's cicadas. The noise sounds nothing like a cicada. It's like some sort of synthesized kind of electronic trilling. That's not what a cicada sounds like, guys. Have you ever heard a cicada, guys? They don't sound electronic. Everything in this sounds weirdly electronic. Actually, the score, which is apparently the last full film score by somebody rather who, I've got to be honest, I'm not overly familiar with. It sounds like they trapped the poor guy in a room with nothing but like a boatload of Stravinsky records and a synthesizer, and then left him there for like 6 months with like, you know, occasional food parcels or something, and just left him like that, because it's this awful sort of sub-Stravinsky, Rite of Spring kind of electronic garbled nonsense. It's like it reminds me a lot of the later Hammer films, but with even less of the artistry, because, you know, Hammer always had that sort of visual style, even in the less good ones, you know, things look good. This doesn't look good. The only thing that does look good is that there's some special effects right towards the end, which I'll get onto in a sec, in case you care enough about this god-awful thing to worry about spoilers. I will put it behind the spoiler hands. I mean, I'm behind the spoiler hands at the moment, but, you know, I'm struggling to even concentrate on the review. This is how uninspiring this film was. The people getting killed in bizarre ways. Like there's a guy who's like some dodgy mortician or something, and he gets, and I quote, embalmed alive. You can't be embalmed alive. I think what they mean is arterial embalming, which is when they, you know, stab a big needle full of goop. Well, it's more like on a machine, and they pump embalming fluids into the vascular system, the, you know, cardiac system, even veins, blood. You know what I mean. God, I'm incoherent today, I'm sorry. They sort of pump this all into the veins, and that replaces blood. That is probably the one stage that you could probably, you know, use on its own to kill someone, because all the rest of embalming involves, you know, removal of bits, and yeah, you can't embalm someone alive. I mean, it could be worse. They could say mummified alive, which is definitely impossible. You cannot. I'm getting distracted. There are no mummies in this film. I wish there were. It would be a lot more interesting. I don't understand this at all. I'm just looking at my notes, and my notes are just gabbled, sort of, this is schlock, I don't know what's going on. This is one of those films that, like, it's very American, and I mean that in the sense that the Americanness to it makes it feel all the less believable to me, because the stuff that's meant to be sort of real worldy sort of thing seems so far removed from anything that, you know, exists in my world. You know, there's a teenage girl with a shotgun on a windowsill, and I'm like, no. Is that a thing that happens in the States? It probably is. I mean, I'm assuming from the accents that this is somewhere sort of central to southern, but I honestly couldn't work out where this was supposed to be set. Sorry, I'm just having a quick look at Wikipedia to see if I can make more sense of this plot, because I don't understand. There are, you know, bodies turning up, and there's business with, like, severed heads, and there's business with exhuming bodies, and there's a lot going on, but I couldn't follow a single piece of it, I've got to be honest. I didn't like this very much, as you can probably tell. The only thing I did like, and this is where, spoiler, 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 if you care, if you're into schlocky 1982 American weirdness, this might be for you. Right towards the end, the split personality-ness of it kind of comes to a ridiculous extreme, and Michael sort of transforms into a thing in this sort of almost Cronenberg kind of The Fly kind of slightly insectoid but still very human thing. I think it's trying to go off this sort of cicada motif which they were trying to go for with the unconvincing cicada chirping, and those effects are quite cool. Like there's this sort of weird thing that happens with his forehead, and there's this sort of pulsing coming out of the back, and it's a cool effect. I mean, I was sitting there going, well, what is going on? Why is this happening? I don't understand. But yeah, I mean, props to whoever did the special effects for this, because they're the only people who managed to do their job very well. I mean, looking at some reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and things, because I was trying to make sense of this, and I still don't really understand. A lot of the central cast were sort of name actors. I wouldn't be honest, none of them I really recognise. I mean, the husband character was apparently in RoboCop and various other things, but to be honest, I don't know the guy, I'm afraid. He's just one of those guys that has one of those faces where I'm like, he's a dude. I don't know. Yeah, given these are meant to be, famous people, they do an awful job. I mean, this is clearly a film that was meant to be paying the rent rather than a film that they wanted to do, and it shows. It's not a good film. So yeah, not a fan. Sorry guys. Yeah, all of my notes are just like, what's going on? When did this become body horror? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? But it was a thing. Again, this is probably going to be a reasonably short video because I don't understand enough to say what was going on. Yeah, that's all I have to say. This wasn't good. Next up, hopefully this will be better. I mean, it's got at least a few more stars than this one. I mean, God, how many stars is this? The next one is 3 stars. The last 2 were 1 star. So, God, hopefully they'll be slightly better. This will be slightly better. Next one is called The Believers. Again, never heard of it. It's another, well, it's a sort of mid to late 80s one, 87. Year I was born. Isn't that exciting? So yeah, don't know anything about that. We'll soon find out whether it's good or not. I'll be back soon for your next dose of Blood, Guts and Pixie Dust, and until then, let's hope this next one's good, because we've had quite a run of bad ones since the Babadook.